I'm passionate about, and I bet they'll spark something in you too. So buckle up for quick, high-impact episodes that'll shake you up. Back to the show, episode 3, your uncensored champion, Steve Setka. Let's go. What an exciting time to be alive right now in my life. Ooh, I feel good. I got a new sweater on right now. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for the birthday gift a month and a half ago. I just returned it, got something that suits my wardrobe, my style a little better here just yesterday. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling clean, feeling fresh. I'm so grateful that my parents, want to buy me clothes. They don't really have the right taste in what I like to wear. That's okay. Their intentions are good. They want me to look good. They want me to feel good. And they're like, oh, you got such a great body for us to shop for you and get you some nice clothes. And, dressing nice makes you feel good, look good, play good. I totally agree, but they just don't have the style and the touch that I'm necessarily looking for. So I went to Banana Republic yesterday, returned couple items, got a new sweater, got a new dress shirt that I'm wearing here. Not the dress shirt, the sweater on this show, which is awesome. So I'm feeling fresh, I'm feeling warm, even though it's bloody cold outside. Episode 3, very exciting. Let's get into it here. We do something very special on the show. As you've found out by now, we take a Bible verse and we create a theme or a context around that verse for the episode. So the context of this episode is from Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. I feel so empowered when I listen to or read Romans. Of course, this is the third episode and the second verse, themed episode that's come from the book of Romans. This one just hit home. I was reading a men's devotional the other day, and this was the episode talking about, the verse talking about where we go to when we're looking for answers in our life. We go to the world, and society conforms us and creates normativities in our life that sometimes serve us, but a lot of the times they don't. And one thing that I've learned to do is think deeper and to be independent and critical of how I think and to learn how to think better in order to come to conclusions in my own life. The media these days, the news, where people are going to tell you to listen to certain things, you can't really trust them anymore. There's always an agenda, whether it's politically or faith or religiously oriented or geographically determined. People always want something from the way that you live your life, and they want you to think in a certain way. And I think the thing we need to do as humans is renew our minds to become critical in our own way and then decipher what the best course of action is from what you hear or see or listen to. I talk all the time with people in my circle about the eyeball test. Did you see it? Did you experience it? Did you feel it? And that is a good starting point for creating your own perspective on something. I'm reading a book right now called The Courage to be Disliked, which is a counter perspective to a popular psychological way of thinking or school of thought, which the original psychologists, but there's two very popular famous psychologists, Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, who collaborated and then later on in life had irreconcilable differences on how they operated in their lives and their ways of thinking. But it created a lot of mentality around the past. And this book talks a lot about a different psychologist who's a combination in his way of thinking, psychology and philosophy. It's Adler. Alfred Adler is a main theme of this book, who had a philosophical, psychological approach to looking at one's life in terms of current, present, and future by means of creating a context, creating a purpose for your life, and then achieving results by going and moving forward rather than looking in the past. Now, I'm not an expert on psychology by any means, although a lot of what I'm reading in this book is contradictory to what I've learned in society or in the world. I've renewed my mind in a new way to think on the present and the current rather than the past and what occurred in my life prior to. It's very easy to think about where we came from and get upset or frustrated based on where we're at now. We look back at our lives and say, oh, if only we had better resources or different parents or a different postal code or a different skin color or whatever it might be, things would have been different. Casey talks about this. I talked about it as well too with her. We had a great discussion not long ago, a couple days ago, about this when it came to her life and mine, specifically in her life, my wife, Casey. was an elite volleyball player and feels like she didn't have the greatest resources and situation in life in order to excel in that part of her life. And it makes you feel upset about being a victim of your past. Where could my life be if I was only a better volleyball player, if I had more resources, if there was some money, or there was better geographical locations for me to play volleyball? Now, it's easy for us to sit there and say, we don't want to think about the past. We should think about the future and where we can go now. Yeah, it's easier said than done. Because I feel the same way. If only there was a little bit more money, if only I had a little bit more height, or if there was resources in my own life in order to get further ahead, where would I be now? But it doesn't necessarily serve us. But we have to be cognizant about the fact that even though we don't want to think like that, and we want to look at the purpose of current and present and future in order to create our life, it's not easy. And sitting with that discomfort and inviting yourself to feel that pain and that emotion, I believe, is quite important. Even though we can't necessarily live in our trauma, you can't necessarily throw it out either. And you have to understand that your past created the life that you're in now. Yeah, it'd be great if we could just move forward, move past it, forget about what happened in the past, and create success for our future. But that's not just the way that it always works. Anyways, this book is incredible. It helps me stay in the present. It helps me stay level in terms of my thinking and my operation on the day-to-day, not getting too high, not getting too low, understanding that my state being even and balanced is somewhat important. I'm not a big fan of that word balance in general, but as long as I'm not getting way too high or way too low, and I'm just celebrating the wins, the ups and the downs, the ebbs and the flows as they come, I'm going to live a good life. And I can live in what Adler calls teleology, which is focusing on the present and the future through purpose and intention rather than ideology, which was the old way of thinking about it, where your past creates where you're going to go in the future. Anyways, food for thought. It's a great book. The Courage to be Disliked is what I'm currently reading right now. And that's the first time I've spoke, I believe, about a book in that much length on one of these shows. It's incredible how these podcasts bring up thought-provoking ideas in my life. It always seems to come when I want to record on the heels of an intense discussion with Casey about where I'm going in my life or where she's going. And she just asked me not too long ago, well, I don't know what my purpose is. I feel like I know with a crystal clear mind where her purpose is and how that is going to move forward in terms of one step, one day at a time, one action at a time, and constant, positive wins that move you forward. Of course, we're going to engage in weaknesses. We're going to slip up. We're going to make mistakes, and there's going to be setbacks. Although, what sort of systems have you created or have I created? I'll speak and own this in my life to move forward, regardless of how tough or how difficult it was or it is. One of my mentors in the world, who doesn't really know that he's mentoring me, Andy Frisella, but he'll find out at some point because this podcast is going to go big and he's going to hear it at some point and he's going to love it because we talk about a lot of the same stuff. He says, you got to figure out a way to execute when you don't want to, or you don't feel like it, or the circumstances are unideal. He says all the time, people win, and the world was created by people who were tired, who were fatigued, who didn't want to, who didn't feel like it, who had to sacrifice in order to get where they want to go. He says oftentimes in his episode, he kills himself in order to be successful in the businesses and the brands that he creates. And it's not necessarily about creating a beautiful life and a beautiful system when you feel good. How do you build yourself into a person that can execute when you feel like shit? That's what I'm trying to do in my life. That's what Casey are trying to do with our vision about creating a life where I primarily build most of the income. She provides a safe haven and a home for our family in the future, for our dog who's barking in the background right now. I'm see if I could edit this out. And for the energy that we want to have in our world going forward. It's very exciting. We're on a journey. This podcast is a big part of it. And I'm going to continue moving forward here. Like my guy, Hani Mahari says, one day at a time, stay hungry, stay thirsty, my friend. That's exactly what we're doing. The last part of the show I want to talk about today is sports. I haven't talked a lot about this. Sports and faith really go hand in hand. There's been a revival recently in terms of athletes bringing their faith into their sports life. And I do this somewhat as well, but I don't think about it all the time as one in the same. NFL playoffs are on right now. I'm loving the championship games that are occurring, the playoffs, the upsets, the underdogs. all the ups and downs and everything that goes into the NFL, which I think is the greatest sport on the planet. People can argue that all they want. They're wrong. But faith intersects with sport in my life as well, too. I'm a squash player. I love squash. I'm going to talk about that in a future episode, and I'm going to have the squash pro of our club on in a future episode. And this is a new sport to me. And thinking about not having a junior background in this sport, but coming into it as an adult has helped me a lot because I don't create these bad habits. I also don't have the foundation. But at the same time, I have faith in my life to create great sporting outcomes because I'm more intelligent, smarter, have a better head on my shoulders, and my mentality is clear. I also love to golf. I followed hockey my entire life and have played the majority of my life. Volleyball is a big part of my life now since Casey's very active and engaged in that as well. I'm living a great life. I'm excited, and we're going to continue moving forward on this show, and we're going to wrap it up right there. That is an excellent topic of conversation for next week's episode is sport, faith, other areas and components of my life that will inspire you to create discipline in your life as well. Thanks for tuning in. We're having a great go. Episode 4 coming out next week. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you found value in what we shared and that you'll take it with you to positively impact the world around you. If so, we'd love for you to take a moment to rate, review, and share the show because we're on a mission to grow and reach more hearts. Prayers, gratitude, and love.